Welcome to Kiki's Chat Show. Today, Wednesday, the 28th of October. Today we have a very highly esteemed gentleman with us. But before I introduce him, I want to give you the thought for the day. The thought for the day is all we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us. All we have to decide is what we do with the time given to us. Welcome to the show, Mr. Clare.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. It's such a pleasure to be with you.
It's my pleasure, actually. I am very, very happy to have you on my show. I am very honored, actually. Now, today I want to tell people about you, and I want to celebrate you. Happy birthday, first of all.
Thank you very much for your wishes. And I also want to take the opportunity to thank all those who expressed their wishes towards me today. I was a bit humbled. I didn't know that I had so many friends and family who've just been calling. I'm sure there's some still calling me, but yeah, thanks very much. I think I had a good day, and I think after speaking to you, I'll even have a better day.
Okay. People are started wishing you already. Kinsley Asante says, happy birthday, sir. Brent Chum says, thank you, Ade Sawyer, happy birthday. People are actually, Iris is wishing you a happy birthday. I have loads of people wanting, but I want to introduce you to the world. And to anyone who doesn't know who you are, we will talk about some of your achievements, but Ade Sawyer has spent most of the past 40 years living and working in Britain.
Where do you want to look?
And a management consultant.
Huh?
Did you say something?
No, not today.
You haven't spoken. Sorry?
I'm listening to you.
Oh, okay. I can hear other voices. Okay.
Can you?
Study
No.
He came to study in Manchester but stayed on in Croydon, where he has lived for the past 35 years. For over 20 years, he worked out of an office in Brixton, feeling the heartbeat of Black Britain. Though his work as a management consultant specializing in Black and minority ethnic issues has taken him to different parts of the country. Ade Sawyer, in 1983, with two other colleagues, Maxwell Varden and Maxine James, Ade set up Equinox Consulting as the first Black management consulting firm. They specifically work on enterprise promotion, employment initiatives, and community development projects targeted at Black and minority ethnic communities. I'm stopping there for us to have a little bit of a chat. Ade, regarding Black and minorities, how did you actually get into it? And are you still doing that? Is that what you're doing still?
Well, it was very interesting for me. I came into this country to do a master's in business administration. The idea was to specialize in finance or something to do with marketing. During the summer, it's a 2-year program. So during the summer, you need to do an industrial program that leads to a dissertation. During that summer period, I was invited by the head of the small business unit, Dave Watkins, who said that, look, there's been a debate about Blacks in business in this country. What do you think? I said, well, I've been in this country for a year. I don't know that much about it. He said, why don't you do some research into Black people in business, what they do, how they're faring. So I said, oh, I took it on. And I did the research in Moss Side. The research coincided with the 1981 riots that shook the whole of Britain. There were the kind of race riots that happened during that period. And I found some fairly interesting things for them that, look, there are black people who would go into business, but there were always problems because there was an issue of discrimination and there was an issue of maybe banks and local authorities and others not providing them with the same assistance that they provided to other small businesses. So we decided to publish, and I think the publication became of interest to most people because it was really the first academic study of blacks in business in this country. So it was through that I got some little job to try and see whether we can do something about effective solutions to encourage more black people to go into business and also to look at how they can be assisted when they decided to set up in business. And so, yes, I flowed from my research, which I then worked on, which then became a subject for me and others using to set up a business. I'd met Maxine and Max working for an organization called New World Business Services, which was an organization that was interested in also promoting blacks in business. And the usual thing has happened. Within a couple of months, their funding had been cut. So we had to then start on our own. And this was, I think it was the day of the Equinox 1983, which I believe was 20th March, which was why 20 March or something, which was why we called the organization Equinox Consulting. It was probably the dawn of something new that was going to take this country by storm. Hello?
Oh, so Equinox. That's why.
Yeah. The spring equinox.
Yeah, I'm here. I can see you.
The rebirth.
Okay.
The start
of the spring equinox.
Of everything.
You know that.
Yeah. So that's how we started. Okay. Yeah. And then we've gone on. Okay. Somebody wants a link. Somebody wants a link to the radio program. You send it onto my site.
I will send it to your site.
Okay, if you do that, yes. Yeah, if you do that, because she's gonna call me. Yeah, it's my business partner, Maxine. She's calling. She says she wants to listen to find out whether I'm going to be truthful. So when she comes on, tell her that I've mentioned her name already. Okay.
Your phone is ringing. Is that?
Yeah, I think she's calling to try and. Oh, I can't answer. Sorry about that. I mean, she's probably calling to find out where the link has been sent to. She says she doesn't understand how these things work. So.
But she's disturbing your show. She's actually disturbing your show. So.
I'm sorry, but I'm not speaking to her.
No, it's fine.
I've asked the lady to speak to her. Okay. Yes. So really, that's really what happened in terms of our starting Equinox. It was because I hadn't come into this country to do business. I'd come to study and then go back home, hopefully. And I was just really trusting of having to start up and having to open up shop and having to then start consulting, advising, counseling small business people. I had to be running training courses, all sorts of subjects, topical subjects in business, as well as looking at the functional aspects of business, looking at programs in finance, programs in marketing, programs in operational management, program in VAT, anything, name it, the sort of programs that a business person needs in order to be able to function very well. So that's really how Equinox started, and on a very shoestring, but we grew from strength to strength actually, because everybody realized that the work we were doing were very relevant actually. So So that was what Equinox was about, working with small businesses, helping to set up small Black business organizations as well, speaking to the banks. Actually, there was a time that we even worked on a project which was going to set up a Black bank. And we did have some money for it. Money was put down by Greater London Enterprise Board, and it was all about making sure that Black people who set up businesses were fairly well resourced. We helped them with their business plans. We helped them in terms of raising money from the banks for them. We helped them in actually talking to larger organizations to see whether there were any marketing opportunities. We got them mentors, we got them coaches to help them. And all this was in the heady days of, in the early 80s, when there was a lot of bustle, activity, a lot of agitation amongst Black people. And incidentally, what was really ironic about all this was, although Black people had been clamoring around for a very long time for assistance, we had something called the Caribbean Chamber of Commerce. It was routes of Brixton that got it all sorted out, because Whitelaw, who was then the Home Secretary, decided that he would appoint Lord Scarman, so that Scarman would organize an inquiry into the routes and probably find most of the people guilty for actually disobeying the police and things like that. And it was Scarman who pointed out to the government that really there was a lack of opportunity for Black people in their businesses, in their employment, and even in their professions. And he felt that it was going to be a sorry state in this country if the country was going to move forward and leave Black people behind. So he felt that the government should actually divert some of its programs to making sure that Black people were assisted. And because it had come from Lord Scarman, it meant that the government had to take it on board. And Margaret Thatcher had to pool all efforts in terms of setting up a lot of task forces within what they call the inner city areas. They did not want to call them within Black areas because it meant that they were favoring Black people. But that was what those task forces did. So there were agencies that people would go for consultation to find out what was wrong. And the work that we did, the research work that we did, was on the back of this to make sure that those agencies of advice and support worked very well, because of course we were private sector. So that's how we ran into the time. I mean, we ran training courses all over London. I mean, I remember going from a course in Hackney in the morning to a course in Haringey in the afternoon. And we extended the work to people who were setting up in business in terms of using formal channels. But this was the time that the Greater London Enterprise Board was also encouraging people to go into cooperatives. So there were a lot of cooperative development agencies, and there were a lot of people who set up cooperatives as a result of that. I mean, some of the old hands in terms of within the movement are still around, and some of them could tell the tale. People like Miss Wendy Campbell, who then worked at Ealing in terms of cooperative development, and then moved on to, I think it was Brent at the time. And she helped set up quite a few businesses. She helped when the Bridge Park project came on board. Exciting days, 80s. who are very young, trying to push people, trying to get things off the ground. So yes, I have done some work, at least pioneering work
You have.
of helping small Black businesses. I mean, and that I'm very proud about. So you see how somebody comes to study here, and then the person gets drawn into what was something about helping their own community, and it was a source of joy for me. It was also a source of earning little change, which I think was very useful, and was also a source of actually meeting the community and having satisfaction that my interaction with my community was fairly beneficial.
Okay. I've got someone who wants to wish you happy birthday.
Hi.
You're on air.
Hello,
Hey.
who's that?
No more.
This is Uncle Lawa.
Oh, hey,
Hey.
Carlton, Mr. Carlton Palmer.
Yes.
Doing what was the
Charlie.
business you were doing? Was it brown sugar?
Brown sugar hosiery. Yes, in those days.
Brown sugar hosiery.
That's right. That's
I
right.
remember, Carlton.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I know. You know what? I just want to wish you a happy 70th birthday. We're so proud of you. I wish I could pop a glass of bubbly for us to share together to say how wonderful a person you are, to have known at least 50 years of my life. I've known
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
and I don't regret any part of it. And on behalf of all my mates who could not come on, we want to wish you a happy birthday. You're a senior brother and a lovely senior brother too. And thank you. May God grant you many more years. Years multiply in abundance that we can spend time together and go to ceremonies together after COVID so that we can have some good fun. So, my brother, I just want to wish you all the best and thank you for making us feel as Black people in this society that we could get somewhere. Because in the 80s, you were the people who motivated us to be able to move forward. Thank you, my brother. God
Thank
bless you.
you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words
Thank you.
of support.
Thank you, sir. All right. Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Miss Candy, thank you for allowing me to wish our big brother a
Thank
happy
you.
birthday.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks.
It's a pleasure.
Okay.
Bye. I've got someone else on here who wants to wish you.
Hello, Senior Ade. This is Stephen here. Kabite probably as you know me. the troublemaker. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm really glad and I'm happy to see you chuck that 70th birthday. I was much junior than you. I wasn't born when you went to the same primary school as I did.
Yes, I know. Accra Newtown Experimental School.
Exactly.
Great
But you
school.
left such a legacy. You left such a legacy.
Great
Our
school.
teachers, I didn't meet so many of them, but I met Mrs. Doche, who knew you very well, and he used to tell us to aspire and have ambition, because Ade came here and he passed all his exams and he went to Achimota School. And we need to, step in his footprints. So happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
We thank God for your life. Hopefully, we will meet again soon so that we can celebrate properly. So I wish you a very, very happy birthday.
Okay.
Senior.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you very
cheers.
much. Thank you very much. Okay.
Nice one.
Okay. I'm being thrown all these surprises. I would have been better prepared. Yeah.
No, it's fine. Everyone wanted to surprise you, so I think that is where we're at. I've got somebody who is so proud of you and wanted a video of himself to send you a message. Please, the message is coming up in a minute.
Wow.
We can't hear the sound, please.
Happy birthday. 73 score years and 10.
Yes.
We thank God and take courage. Woda ata nyongboshi. Ye Yesu Kristo nunchomle. Ake ehabu. Pawo. Bomoden ehabu. The Lord has done great things for you. You have been a great encouragement to a lot of people with this hereditary ailment, which is called Chwe Inga, Ahuntutu in Chwe, Nudui in Eve, Kwaha Infante, Lakurebe, or Aromolegu in Yoruba. You have shown that somebody with sickle cell disease can live a useful life to 70 years and over. So we thank God for you. I remember when I took you to a teaching hospital in the University of London to explain to the doctors that those with sickle cell disease do not have to be going in and out and in and out and in and out of hospital, but they know how to look after themselves. So you stood up and spoke to the doctors and you taught them. Thank you very much. May God bless you. Felix Konote Ahulo.
Thank you very much. I'm getting echo here.
Somebody in your house.
I don't know whether. Okay.
Somebody in your house has the.
Someone in my house has something Wi-Fi. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I need to speak to Dr. Koneti Ahulu at the age of 10. I went into Achimota before I turned 10 years actually. And I was ill all the time. I mean, my friends used to carry me to the Achimota hospital, and they got so disturbed in the school because they didn't know that maybe I was feeling homesick, because I was just I turned 10 in Achimota, and there was all this ill all the time. And Peter Rayner, God bless him, decided that, look, what was happening was bigger than Achimota. Dr. Kutadankwa was the doctor there. So Peter and Miss Tay, who was the nursing sister, arranged for me to go to Kolebu. And that's where I met Dr. Koneti Ahulu for the first time. And we started talking about what was wrong with me. Incidentally, the major problem that I had was that because I was not yet an adult, I could not be admitted in the normal ward. So I went to the children's ward at that time. And there was a lady doctor there, an Indian lady doctor, who was concerned that I was losing time from school. So she used to bring me maths books and English books for me to be able to, I think she was called Dr. Kuma. Yeah. So I remember all these things like it just happened. Okay. And Felix assured me that if I took great care of myself, or if I take good care of myself, I was probably going to thrive. But we used to have great arguments. I used to have great arguments with him about what I should do and not do. You know, Felix comes from a fairly strict religious background. He went to Banner Hill, and I told him that, look, that ascetic life was not going to be for me, because growing up as a young man, I also needed to do a little bit that everybody did. I mean, to be one of the people. So anytime I went to the hospital, we had a great time. But I then started volunteering in my adult life to spend mornings at the Ghana Institute of Genetic, that clinic, to also talk to other younger people who had sickle cell and to advise them about what they should do if a crisis is coming on, what it is that they do. So sickle cell is also being a little bit part of my life, and I've tried to take good care of myself to manage it. But yes, I do remember Dr. KIKI'S Ahulu, and I always thank him when I meet with him, that maybe he doesn't remember, but then I really didn't know what was going on. Yeah.
I think Dr. KIKI'S Ahulu was exceptionally proud of you, and his point was that you have lived all the way up to 70. You have been a great man in your community and beyond, actually. You have worked very hard and you are still going. And a lot of times when people have sickle cells, they are people talking in your background? I can hear everyone in your house. Ade.
I think they're having a conference around me, and I don't know what the conference is about. I'm sure that my darling wife must have been involved in the planning of this, and she's not telling me anything.
No, yes, she was very instrumental in this whole show, and
Yeah,
very instrumental in a lot of things. But a lot of things didn't manage to work out, but we've managed to get some things together. Yeah. Anyway, so the whole thing of Dr. KIKI'S Ahulu's excitement today, he has been excited all day because he said at 70, his point was clear that regardless of the sickle cell, you have managed to live beyond, and up to 70, and you will live beyond. You have done a lot of things that a lot of people, normal people, haven't been able to achieve. And that was one of his greatest prides in you. So just to let you know that he was very happy this morning. Very, very happy indeed. Uncle Ade, we all love you and we are all so proud of you. And you are like a father figure to a lot of us. You have been there for me in my time of distress. You have sat at my lunch table. You have counseled my children. You have my friends come here. Everybody is in love with you. That is God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Today, thank you. The number of people who are wishing you happy birthday, they never watch my show. But today they are on here. They are all leaving messages and talking. And I think it's a testament to your life. To your life.
Well, I'm becoming a little bit emotional about it. I'm normally I'm normally straight faced and things like that, but sorry, I mean, some of these things bring back some memories, some very pleasant memories, actually. But yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So one of the questions I wanted to ask you was, your sickle cell support group.
Yeah.
We were trying to get them to come on the show as
Oh,
well,
okay.
but
Okay.
all sorts of things happened and
That's all right.
I will find them. However, do you want to talk about that as well, your contribution to the support group?
Yeah, I mean, I think that part of the thing is that when you have when you have a condition, yeah, you can either say that, look, I just want the doctors to look after me, okay. But sometimes it's important that we as the patients should also be able to help the doctors to look after us better. So one of the first things that I did when I came into Manchester, there was a lady who was a specialist nurse for sickle cell. And I think somebody must have told her at the Royal Infirmary in Manchester that there's a young guy studying out of the university. So Verna Davis, she's called, I remember. So I started holding discussions with them there and then and we expanded the group to be made up of people who have the sickle cell disease, their parents, and people who would support them. And essentially what we're discussing at that time were both the medical and the non-medical issues around sickle cell. The non-medical was probably things to do with, what would I say? Things to do from most people getting your benefits, how to communicate with your GP, how to communicate with the specialist, how people would support you in time of crisis, and things like that. And the medical issues were really actually providing an interface with the doctors so that the doctors were not practicing just the theory, but they were doing useful research that would help us, the patients. I must say that, I did a lot of that in Manchester. When I came to London, I assisted a group, a lady, Lola Oni, who had a small, something on Stockwell Road. So I used to also go there, attend meetings, really just trying to find out how we can help other people. And then I didn't do a lot of that till, yeah, I would say that fairly recently I got involved in trying to find out what things were happening within the sickle cell society. But like everything else within Black groups, there were different people. There was Scar, there was Oscar, there was Sickle Cell Society. There were about 10, 15 different groups. And it was a big problem uniting all the groups. As it is now, I'm involved in the KIKI'S College support group. We meet on a monthly basis. And I'm also involved in the sickle cell thalassemia group in Croydon. That's much older people. I'm part of the adult group. So we used to meet every Wednesday morning. We call it coffee breaks to just really talk about our different experiences. And so I've kept on those things going. The support group is been very important now with the advent of WhatsApp, because people can now ask ready questions about things that they need, and people are able to respond based on their experiences. The next specialists are also part of the group. So it works very well. So I think that anybody who is, I mean, I call myself an expert patient, because when I go to the doctor, what I want to do is to understand what my issues are, for the doctor to actually explain it to me from a medical point of view, and for me then to actually explain that, look, this is what I'm feeling, And so I do my checkups every 3 months. And I remember maybe about 5 years ago, I went to the hospital limping. I thought I had a nasty bout of what did I say, arthritis. And the doctor looked at me and said, "Look, you got gout." And I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, Mr. Sawyer." I said, No, I don't have gout. I don't drink red wine. I don't eat a lot of meat. He said, "No." He said, "That's what you have. There's some condition having." So she took off my shoe and we looked at it. And she said, "Oh, normally if it had been white, it would have been red." Okay. But I said, "Oh, you can't see any red." He said, "Well, Mr. Sawyer, this is a dark skin. So, but I'm telling you, it's a big toe and everything." But that's how, through those discussions, we're able to then look at the kind of medication that I need. So I can now advise people who have gout in terms of what it is that they should be doing and foods they should not be eating and the type of medicine they will be taking and so on and so forth. So really, that is what is on the table. So I'm fairly passionate about helping other people who also have the conditions. Actually, last year, or was it this year? Early on this year, I wrote a little piece, which was a letter to a nephew who had sickle cell, and I recounted my experiences in the hope that it will be a guide to. That reminds me, I should have written an abridged version for publication now. So those are the things that I do within sickle cell.
Excellent. Another thing you are also, I'm also curious to ask you is about COVID and its effect on the Black community. Because in the news, it is constantly being said that it is the Black people, the ethnic minorities who are more affected by it. And I'm wondering why they keep saying that. Why is it true though? And do you know anything about it? And how are we dealing with it?
Well, okay. Let me liken it to maybe my own experience in sickle cell, and I'll come back to talking about COVID. Okay. When somebody has a sickle cell crisis, most people in this country will try and treat the pain, okay, because that's the manifestation of the crisis. But there might be something that may have triggered the sickle cell. It could be malaria, it could be stress, it could be whatever, anything. It could be bending down, excessive exercise. It could be just about anything. Now, if you don't look at the underlying conditions and you try to cure the pain, what you would end up doing is that you'll be giving the patient a lot of painkillers, which may solve the pain, but does not necessarily solve the underlying condition. Okay. In like fashion, when people are ill from COVID, or from what I've been told, there's a desperate need to try and solve the COVID issue. The person may be diabetic. The person may have another underlying issue, kidney problem, whatever. Okay. Now, I feel that you can't just treat COVID because there's no cure for it at present. Okay. So you have to look at the patient and all the underlying condition, because you may be trying to treat the flu or the COVID, but really the person may be struggling with an underlying condition of heart disease or whatever. And I think that for me, that I think is one of the reasons why a lot of Black people who go into hospitals with COVID have a big problem, because they are Black, because nobody wants to look at the underlying conditions. I'm also told that a lot of Black people are in frontline services. So there were people who were volunteering to go and do good work when indeed there was no PPE and they were not sufficiently, how would I say, protected to do the work that they were doing. Okay. I'm also told that, or we know that a lot of African and Caribbean people and Asian people are also working frontline services. So they're the first port of call. I mean, when you go into shops, there are lots of security people. Most of them are black. Most of the cashiers and things like are black. When you go to the buses, most of the people there are African or Caribbean. So they tend to come into contact a lot more with the public. So the incidence of their being infected is probably much higher. And I think in terms of the treatment, because nobody looks at what underlying conditions they have, they try to treat the COVID, and that maybe ends up in a fatality. So I think that some of those things may be true, but we've always known that there were inequalities in our health system. And instead of doing something about it, nobody is really bothered about it. And it's really now that people are actually looking at COVID exposes it all, and it becomes something that is fairly topical again. So yes, I think that probably what they are saying is true, but we really probably may find out later what it is that is created these fatalities. Some people say it's maybe could be neglect. It could be anything. It could be people not finding the right treatment. It could. So in all this, there's an underlying element of what I would call racial disadvantage that then creates a problem for the people. So if you see what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I do. But my question to you, as you are one of the big people or the linchpins for the Black community, is it possible that you could suggest to the people that putting not looking at the underlying issue and putting that thing in their mouth? I don't know what it's called. There's this I've got a mental block on this, but there is this extreme thing which they put the ventilator.
Oh, the ventilator. Okay, the ventilator. Okay.
So when they put the ventilator, that's what kills the people. And because I mean, to be fair, a lot of these other people who go into the hospitals, they are given oxygen, they are given antibiotics, they are given all sorts of things, but they are not taken to the ventilator. So why is it that when Black people get into the hospital, they are immediately put on ventilators and then die?
Well, I mean, okay. I mean, what we are talking about is really anecdotal stuff that Black people get a ventilator. Okay. I mean, I thought I'd explained it by saying that if somebody is ill with COVID and you are trying to treat the COVID and the person is not getting better, so you move the person from oxygen to ventilator, when maybe the COVID is a complication of maybe heart disease and you are not looking there at all, or so you may be treating them, pushing the ventilator into their lungs and everything, but the person is poorly because of something else. And so that history that doctors are supposed to take when a patient comes, that look, who are you, what are you, this is your record, what have you done, etc., in order for them to be able to then do a proper diagnosis that, oh, this person has COVID, but they have a kidney disease. So whilst treating the COVID, we should not do anything that would aggravate the kidney problem. Or somebody has diabetes, we are treating COVID. We need to make sure that there's nothing we do around the treatment of COVID that would affect their diabetes or heart disease or anything. And I'm saying that I think that the hospitals are sort of desperate to find a way of treating properly. Okay. And maybe that is what may create the impression that Black people are just giving the ventilator.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah. So I think that by the time this main crisis goes on, there's been a lot of research by some fairly qualified Black academics in the health field that are actually trying to identify and isolate what the problems are, so that should we have another COVID problem or another virus problem, we'll probably be better prepared to treat it. As we all know, nobody is really prepared for COVID. People are sort of making things as they go on. And the contrast people have asked or spoken about is that whilst Black people may be suffering from COVID here and dying from the COVID, when you go back to Africa, our people probably have a certain element of immunity, which actually means that we are able to better handle the COVID in terms of the fact that it hasn't gone through us and people are not dying on the streets. But I think that is maybe about people listening to what the government is saying, maybe practicing better hygiene, and doing all the stuff. And we know that when you were in Ghana, we got flu, but the flu goes through at a very fast stage. In this country, they are more susceptible to flu, and people have a lot of problems, or actually also dying out of flu. Unfortunately, this time it's affecting our African, Caribbean, and Asian people, which is really unfortunate. I'm sure that we may be able to unlock an answer to that. There are people who are talking about a vaccine. There are other people who are actually saying that the vaccine is not necessarily the answer, but maybe we have to find a way of preventing this COVID. The mask, the washing of hands, and all the listen. But COVID is also thrown up quite a few interesting things for African and Caribbean people in terms of their socialization that we are behaving differently. I mean, I can't imagine that I haven't gone out anywhere. My wife tells me that, oh, why aren't you going out today? I said, no. I'm sitting at home. Weekend comes, I'm at home. No more funerals for me. I don't go to a lot. Last time I was excited, I was my nephew had a child. We had to do the outdooring on Zoom. I mean, yeah, we've got to change. Things are going to will change gradually, maybe not immediately, but we are learning the rules as we go along. That we should not be putting ourselves in situations where, because you don't know where you catch COVID from. So I've tried to shield. I've stayed at home, and I think I've done it fairly well.
Well done. So have
Thank you.
I have children.
Thank you.
Except, you and I are both children.
Except when I bring the kinky, I sit in the car. And not tension.
Oh, people, you won't believe it, but Uncle Ade and his lovely lady wife they bring me, they bring me Otishinu. Only if you know. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it is African something. It is a medicine. It cures all. And okay, now I'm curious to know. Somebody sent me a message and said, "Can you ask him how he chooses his topic in his Obesebe blog?"
Oh Lord. Well, most times it's really about. Okay, let me tell you the basis of my writing. Okay. Most of the time, the work I do, I write reports. And the reports can be boring, okay? Because the reports are almost always follow a particular pattern. There's a problem, you analyze the problem, you look at the various options, you look at the underlying options, you do more analysis, you then decide the best way in which the problem can be resolved. Then you go into a conclusion, and then when you do the conclusion, you go on and present it. Okay. Now, it's fairly rigid structure. Okay. Now, you can't always write that way when you are writing things for people to appreciate, okay, and to enjoy. So what I try to do when I'm picking up any topic is to look at an issue that is topical. Sometimes I'm fairly tongue-in-cheek, but behind it all, I need to explain the position. So whether it's culture, whether it's issues with the diaspora, whether it's issues within Ghana, whether it's politics, I hope that anybody who reads what I've written, it may seem to be rambling, but really I want as much as possible people to get a better picture of my view. Okay. I like to choose topical issues because I do a lot of what I'll call cultural work. Okay. I'm fascinated by the culture of the Ghana people. And I suppose that fascination came again to me in Manchester, because I lived in Ghana as a Ghanaian. I mean, I wasn't particularly interested in historical traditions, and I did it as a matter of course. But when you come and meet people from other lands, especially here, they try and find out, who are you? Where do you come from? How come you're able to speak English and understand the English? What is it that you've done in your life before? And I just started thinking that really, who am I? And then the customs of our people sort of come up, right? So when I came to London and there was a need to form a group, which was candykisseih Asafo, I also joined, okay? And we decided that what we should be doing is to look at the cultural practices of the Ghana people so that we are able to celebrate our customs. We also added something to it, which was to set up a school that would teach, it was run every Saturday actually, that would teach our young people how to read and write Ghana. We ran it for several years in some church in Moistin Road Methodist Church. Okay. And I suppose getting involved in cultural things means that I try to explain our culture. What is our Ghanaian culture? That is very diverse. So when I write, I'm more comfortable in writing about the Ghana or Dangbe culture, or learning about the Ghana or Dangbe culture. So I do quite a bit of research. Not only do I read, but I talk to people about instances, what they also think. So most of the time when I write, it's probably my opinion on an issue, but I try to find out what it is, and I write to inform. So my passion, really, most of what I write is Kwame Nkrumah, because I think that he's been, there's a lot of stuff that went on after the coup. Okay. Then I also write about the CPP, my dear party. We still try to find that.
Can I just hold you on there? At the mention of the CPP, somebody here who wants to wish you a happy birthday and talk to you. Ivor, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you can you not use your camera?
Unfortunately, where I am, it'll be difficult for me to do. It's difficult for me to do that.
Okay.
I will know that Accra has all sorts of funny areas.
I know. Okay, Iva wants to speak to you, Uncle Ade. So Iva, carry on.
Hey, young man, when are you writing another speech for me?
Go on.
The man is a great writer, and he's able to write very quickly and take very complicated concepts, simplify them, and make them very understandable to any listener. He has a great mind and a very strong sense of history and a very strong sense of where he feels he can contribute to the continued progress of his nation and his beloved homeland, Ghana.
Man.
And so our constant interactions, either on phone or when I happen to pass through the UK, are always very enlightening and enjoying, particularly with his references to my grandfather and his knowledge of history and buying suits in New York.
Are you there, Iva?
Okay, I thought I thought it had broken off.
No, we're still listening.
And so, unfortunately, I would have been over there recently when I heard it was his 70th birthday. A mutual, should I say, comrade.
Yes.
And Nelson told me about, Echo told me about his, upcoming birthday. I had really would have loved to have been there, and I'm sure had it not been for COVID, or not even COVID, had it not been for the quarantine, I would have made the effort to dash over there and surprise him and enjoy his company for a brief period of time, whilst he continued to give me his usual extensive words of wisdom and encouragement. Uncle Ade, we love you, and we wish you so many more happy returns. And looking at how sharp your brain still is, I know the rest of you also is healthy enough to take you many more years hence. And we know those years are going to be as wonderful as the years that have passed by. We're grateful for you, and we love you very much. And a happy birthday from me in person, and also from my mother, and also my brother and sisters.
Thank you.
All the best.
Olumide is here. He would have liked to have seen your face, but you are not. Because when he heard your voice, he thought that should he say hello to his cousin. But that's okay. I'll tell him that you came on. Yeah. Okay. And
thank you, Iva, for coming on my show. And
say hello to my dear cousin Stanabia for me.
Yeah, like forward never, backward never.
Backwards never.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.
Being hijacked.
You no, it's fine. It's your birthday. Look, at 70 is not easy. It's not easy to get to 70. And listening to you and all the things that you've gone through with the sickle cell, the fact that the hard work that you have done, loads of people love you. You've been kind to people. Afro-Asian travel. We've all traveled on Afro-Asian, So a lot of students, Ghanaian students, through you, traveled, came abroad, worked, did shopping, and took it back. And those were hard times in Ghana, and yet people managed it. And because of the cheap prices and the way you went and changed the whole scene for youth travel, if it wasn't for you, we would never have been able, to travel, because it was quite expensive buying a British Airways ticket at the time. So I remember also when you worked in Cobdove, Go Ahead Suites.
Yeah.
And we would come to Go Ahead and start sticking in our pockets, our mouths, and oh my Lord. So you have done so much. You have not tarried at all in your life. At all. And it is documented, it is there for all of us to see. And this is very important for the youth coming up to see somebody like you to aspire to. And this is really the reason for this show today. It is for everyone to see you, how hard you have worked. And in all this time, you have time to be kind to people and to especially young people. The young people love you so much. And everybody calls you Uncle Ade. It is God's blessing. It is as if God knew that He was putting somebody on this earth to do specific things for other people. And it's beautiful. The show is gonna end now. This part is gonna end, but we're gonna continue because there are so many more people who want to speak to you. But for the TV part, the show has ended. So thank you all for watching the TV part, but we'll continue because other people want to come on and say happy birthday to you as we talk on. So my other question to you is, what would you say to your 20-year-old self now that you are 70? Is there an advice you would give to yourself when you were 20?
What was I doing when I was 20? Maybe something very salacious, Oh, my wife is just coming here. Okay, yeah. What did I do? What did I do when I was 20? 20 was 1970. Okay. 1970 was University of Ghana, Akwafo Hall. I had a room in the penthouse, 5th floor. 405. Okay. I'd spent the first 2 years with my roommate, called Sam, who I've spoken to this morning. I had gone to study at the School of Administration. And as I told some of my classmates yesterday, the School of Administration was started on what is the Western Compound in Achimota School.
Oh, okay.
And I was in Gaddisburg House in Achimota School.
Oh, like my daddy.
Okay. And there was something many people did not know. But every 4 o'clock, the university students at the School of Administration had some nice tea with scones. So I found a way of always going to visit my seniors who had come through Achimota School. I just go to the Western Compound right at 4 o'clock, and they'll be going to the dining hall to have some nice tea and scones. So I decided that I was going to go to the School of Administration. Okay. So that's what took me to Legon in later years. I did a course in business, and I knew those were the good days of Ghana. You didn't have to worry about getting a job. So by the time I finished my degree in 1971, short of my 21st birthday, I thought I wanted to go to the civil service, but I got an offer to go and work at Ghana Commercial Bank. And I had a very interesting interview because the people on the panel were wondering how they could employ somebody who was not yet 21 and therefore could not be a signatory to documents, because then you had to have reached the age of majority in order to be able to attest. So I managed to convince Mr. Ken Osaki, who I think was head of the panel, that I studied quite a bit of theoretical banking, and all I really needed to do was to try and up my game in terms of doing the practice of banking. And at the end of the interview, I think he liked my answers so much that he asked me whether I had any money in my pocket. And I said, no, I'd walked to the interview, and he gave me 5 CDs. So I knew that I had a job. Okay. 20 years was fairly adventurous years. Maybe I did some things to a bit of excesses. I like to advise any young person to curb those excesses. I was a little bit impressionable. And you know, some of us did not discover girls till we left secondary school. So you become very greedy when you are 6 form. Every young lady you see, you want to chat her up. So I mean, well, these are things we've been through this. Every young lady you see, you want to chat them up. It was a bit like Freshers Week in this country. You go to Volta, you knock on the door, you try and talk the lady. She says, "Who are you?" You move to the next door. You knock on the door, and you find where you'll probably be accommodated fairly well. I was young and fairly brash, fairly adventurous too, but I had good friends. And so some of those friends provided me with a lot of guidance. It's like when a woman breaks your heart, how you need to deal with it, and that you should be more resilient. You are not God's gift to everybody, so you lose some. Okay. sorry, I'm sort of digressing, but this is all really about life and my studies. I sorted out. I mean, I made sure that I attended every lecture. That was the diligence. I attended every lecture. I did all the coursework, and I was certainly convinced that I was going to do a good exam. But yeah, university was also about partying and really enjoying myself. And you know the type of partying, looking at the chicks, talking to them, chatting them, trying to, and I did that. I mean, actually, my roommate calls me lover boy. Thought I was probably trying to do a lot of it, or too much of it. But yeah, well, okay. My advice is that try and do what you want to do, and try and do it well. Okay. Because my experience after I left the commercial bank, and I left commercial bank based on a disagreement, because what I really wanted to do was computers, and the bank was not computerized at the time. And during the period that I was at the bank, I did an exam with IBM. And I got an opportunity to go and work in IBM. So I went to Mr. Icing, as he was then, the personnel manager, and I asked him, was it possible for me to take a leave of absence to go and learn about computers and come back to the bank. And he said, no chance. I worked in High Street Bank, and he said that, look, if I really don't like banking, and we know say it wasn't really an aggressive discussion. What he does is that maybe it would be good for him to transfer me to Enchi, which is the border around the Ivory Coast area, or actually send me to Boku, because he felt that I could get useful experience there. And so I asked him what the progression was, and he said, well, if you go to Boku and you survive, we may consider bringing you to England, which was okay. So I told him that, oh, Mr. Ison, Boku is far. Accra boy, I've lived in Accra all my life. Apart from when I went to sixth form at Koforidua. I can't go to Boku. And really, maybe it's better for me to take on the job with IBM. So I went and worked for 4 years at IBM as one of the first systems engineers, which is really what is a business analyst at present. IBM, because computers were being used for science at the time, tended to employ people who had done maths or physics. I think I was probably the second person who had done business, because there was a spirit of trying to computerize several government agencies like state insurance, food distribution agency, electoral commission already had a computer, ATCC had a computer, I think Bank of Ghana had a very small computer, Ghana Airways. So we sort of roamed, providing assistance to the people who ran the computer centers, and also providing technical assistance to the people who sold the computers. Those were fairly exciting days, actually. Because as a young boy, I had to put on a suit everywhere I went. And we weren't too comfortable about it, because you walk in the hot African sun, you had to put on regulation suit. From time to time, I had somebody sew me a Superfly suit that made me look really dainty, I think, at the time. And yeah, and I worked very hard. Actually, it was really very hard work. Writing programs, teaching people how to use computers, teaching people programming. Indeed, I always say, and that I wrote the first electricity billing program for Ghana Electricity, because that was one of my installations, and I helped them in terms of acquiring their first computer. I did the same thing for SNEET. I'm talking about 1972 to about, maybe I left IBM at the tail end of early 76. Because normally you go into an organization and you are either moving up, or you are moving out, because they are employing new people. And that's how come I had that opportunity to go and invest in Afro-Asian Travel Center to be able to run the charter flights and make a few bucks at that time. But those were also exciting days. So what do I tell a 20-year-old? Just pick up something and just be diligent in it. And if you are, things you'd be able to, problems would come in life, but you would probably be able to resolve those problems because you've done the hard work. Okay. And I love the hard work. So yeah, that's 20-year-old, get something, stick at it, but when an opportunity comes, go and do something else. Because life is about learning. I mean, over the past 10 years, I've learned so many things that I didn't know in terms of the projects that I've done within Equinox, going to work with gypsies, travelers, learning about what it is that they do, learning about social services, about how the council works, about, yeah, it's keep an open mind. Keep
Yeah,
an open mind, don't be fixed.
I've got someone here who wants to wish you happy birthday. Do you want to put your camera on? Hello? Iris? Iris?
She's not coming.
Yeah, no, she's there, but she's muted herself, and I don't know if she's talking through muting. But she's muted, so you can talk. I think we can only speak to her. She's on, but
yeah,
muted.
Okay.
Somebody wants to ask.
Hello.
Oh, she's back.
No, I'm not putting on my camera. I'm having a bad hair day.
Okay. No, she's there, but she's muted herself, and I don't know if she's talking through mute. You have to switch on your phone. I think or silence it. She's on. Iris.
Yeah.
Silence your phone. Somebody wants to ask.
Hello.
Oh, she's
on my camera. I'm having a bad hair day.
Oh, dear. Iris, mute your phone. You have to switch on your phone. I think silence it on. Iris. Silence it.
Hello, am I direct on you with you now?
Yeah, but switch off your phone or turn it, put it on silent.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's okay.
Is it
now.
Okay now, Candy?
Yeah, it's okay now. You are okay now. You're on air. Hello.
I can't hear you, so I'll try again.
No, we can hear you though. Okay. Somebody wants me to ask you, Uncle Ade, about your yellow car. Hold on, let me just see.
Oh God.
Can you remind me of his Peugeot?
504 automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a 504 automatic.
You used to bring it to school to visit your brother Bella.
Yeah, 504 automatic. I remember that car. I mean, I had, well, you know, let me find the number. I think it was GS 1070. No, it was just in GS. Something 5071. Look, God, okay. I'll tell you, there's an interesting, it was an American specification. I bought it from one of the top Ghanaian scientists, communication scientists, who helped to create broadband. Okay. Dr. Victor Lawrence. We used to call him Lupus when we were in secondary school. Victor Lawrence studied at Imperial, was top of his class at all stages, and studied communication. But the basis of his scholarship was that he had to return to Ghana to teach for a period. Okay. So he came to teach in tech. And I hadn't seen him since he left school. So I was walking around Mobile House. That's why I worked in IBM. And I saw this guy walking around. I said, Christ, this must be, you know, the seniors, I just called him back. I said, Lupus, So he turned around and said, who can be calling me Lupus? I mean, which was his guy name. So he came and I spoke to him. I said, oh, Lupus, where are you? And he said, oh, he's been in the country because I think I'd seen him in England, one of my trips. Yeah. Said, oh, he's been in the country and he's actually going to America. So I said, oh, how come I didn't see you? He said, oh, he was lecturing in tech. But anyway, he's just tying up the loose ends. And he had a car that he wanted to sell. I said, you kidding me? He said, oh, he's got a 504. I immediately went with him to go and look at the car. And I said, oh, I'll buy it. He was looking at me. Oh, Ade, where are you going to get the money to buy the car? I said, look, Lupus, just leave me. Yeah, I'll buy it. So I went up because we had those days, they get Standard Bank to arrange a loan for us. Okay. But then afterwards, I couldn't quite afford it. So I had to haggle with him a little bit and pay him some money and then pay the deposits later on. But the minute he told me it was automatic, I was hooked on it. And he had the American bumpers, So when you are driving, real swagger at the time. So it gave me I suppose, I did enjoy myself in that car. And I remember then I was an absolute gentleman because every time I gave a lift to ladies, when I took them to where they went, I actually got up and opened the door for them, which meant that they were very pleased. But when other ladies saw that, they thought, what a cultured man. He still does these things. So so I had that car for a good while. I'll tell you how that car broke down. I probably didn't take as good care of it because it was automatic transmission. And even the people at SCOA did not look at it properly. And I know one day I was driving from Achimota going around the 37 area, and I realized that the car was not pulling. It wasn't pulling. And I didn't know what to do because with automatic, there's no brake, there's no gears to change and everything. And I'll tell you, son, the lady sitting in that car that day was toasting. Yeah. I think we'd gone up somewhere and so she said, oh, Ade, but Ade, what's wrong with your car? Typical Achimota, ex-Achimota young girl. And I said, I really don't know. But I think we've got to get down and take a taxi. She said, but I said, look, I think I have problems. So went along the line, went and got a mechanic who said he could repair it. They did repair it, but it never really was as, how would I say, it was not a real thing after that repair. And I had it till I left Ghana. I sold it when I was leaving Ghana. I sold it to Ralph KIKI'S.
Oh,
so I remember I got very good. Yeah. It was good. It was, what's the word? It was fairly attractive. And I look good. I think if I say so myself, I thought I looked good by that car all the time, When I put it down, I stand and then, the young girls will be looking at this. Who is this young guy with me? Telling them, this is not my father's car, This is my own car.
It's your own car.
I bought it and I paid for it from my sweat of this thing. So yes. That 504 did good service, actually.
Excellent. I've got another question for you from another listener who is asking, I want to know his greatest fear in life. Oh,
God. I'll give you the day, the time. My greatest year was also the year that I was not well. And this was 1978, leading on to 1979. There were several reasons. I'd developed the necrosis of the hip bone. Many people have asked me why I didn't get very active in politics in Ghana. Okay. By 1978, at the height of this, wanting to remove a champion from office, it wasn't as a result of that, but I became ill. And I spent a long time at Kolebu because there was a problem with my hip bone. And it was probably a very critical period in my life because I'd always assumed that I would have gone into politics. So after university, 1971, and then by early 1972, January, Achampong had stopped everybody from politics. In 1978, there was kind of a lot of agitation. And then I got very ill. And I stayed in Kolebu for a while. Then I had to go and live with my father at Lagos Town. And there was a lot of political agitation then about one of the old guys whose son had gone to school with, Mr. Shadow. He came and said they wanted an assemblyman to represent the Lagos Town area. And he felt that I should be that assemblyman. And my father told him that my son is not very well. I don't think he can get involved in that. But I helped during that time to set up something called the Accra Newtown Development Association. And I talk about this with pride because I became the secretary. I don't know where Gordon Amenya was, but I was able to recruit some of the old headmasters in the schools in Accra Newtown to actually join that organization. I remember going to Master Ofosu Apia, who was my headmaster when I was in primary school, and actually talking to him about the fact that we needed to set up this organization because local community work was not working very well. I went to see Mr. Achampong, who had been the counselor there during the heady CPP days. Master Otri, Mr. Ofori, Mr. Martins. I actually spent every day really going to talk to some of these old people about my ideas for probably turning Accra Newtown into what it should have been, which is a well-laid area, okay? And I think that must have been the start of my community activism in terms of really trying to bring the local council to book. So I'd go to AMA. I wasn't working at that time because I hadn't been too well, okay? So I wasn't working at that time formally. My father was looking after me, and I went on. I think that 78 into 79 was really very good because it sort of got me thinking about a bit about public life and a bit about. I did not get involved in the politics of the time, the nitty-gritty politics, because if I had accepted, I may have ended up maybe go into mainstream politics. But Accra Newtown decided that Alhaji Fall would stand for the PNP. And I was a fairly active supporter of him at the time. But I remember those days, because those days being ill too was a period of reflection about what I wanted to do with my life. Okay. I'd worked in Ghana for about 7 years after university, done various things, 7, 8 years. And anytime my father saw me, he used the term, go west, young man. And my father tried to tell me, even to the point of convincing me that though I had finished university, I was uneducated because I hadn't seen the life. He didn't think that I was, he always said, oh, my illiterate son. Because my father was a schoolmaster. So we talked at large. He could hold his own on any topic in the world. So he started telling me that. I said, oh, Dad, I mean, I don't want to be an academic and that kind of stuff anyway. It was during that time that Mr. Reindorf came to see me and said, Ade, why don't you come and do some work for me at Go Ahead? And Go Ahead had a distinct issue at the time. His late father had passed away. It was a family business. There was a need to formalize it. I'd done some management at Afro-Asian. I knew about computers. I'd worked in the bank. So I spent the later year, which is 1979, actually helping to reorganize the process. I wasn't the boss, but I was probably one of the middle managers and did some serious analytic work at the time. I mean, and yes, 78, day of reflection. It was also a period of rest. And it was what made me start thinking that maybe I should leave Ghana and come and study. And as a cousin of mine, the late Ate Sawyer, who used to have long discussions with me, mainly about business issues, because he had been an engineer turned a banker, and I was really into management. And we talked a lot, and I told him that, okay, he had gone and done an MBA. Maybe I'll try that. So those periods were what I probably used to maybe crystallize the ideas that I had for what I wanted to do, which was, I'd always been really to set up an independent management consultancy. Oh, sorry, I hope you don't lose me. My battery is saying that it's going low. Oh, yes, hold on. It will be a disaster if I don't get this thing, but I can immediately transfer into. Why did I not do this? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I hope it charges now. Okay. Yeah. So that was a good year for thinking actually and for planning. So it was easier when I came here to try and execute some of the things that I wanted to do. So this notion of marrying community work with doing management consulting may have been formed during that time. And of course, I knew about computers, which was also a good advantage because when I came to study in Manchester, I earned quite a bit of money working in their computer section. I mean, it's a real free money. I was a broke man at the time, so the money was quite handy actually. So I did write some programs in BASIC for them at the computer center. So some of the things you've done as a young man translate into something that you can probably do for the future.
Indeed. I've got Iris. She's back, but she's muted. So I don't know if she can get her mute off. So that
Hello.
yeah.
I hope I'm clear now.
You are. We can hear you.
Thank you. Olukba Ade Sawyer. I have a lot to say, but of course you don't want me to start. And I'm just standing there saying, don't talk too much, Iris. But I want to say thank you, first of all. And I want to say thank you with the song Psalm 1 in Ga. I hope you can join me. You always chide me about my poor Ga skills, but I'm going to try. The words may elude me. Those who know it can join me. Ajogbomo ni enyi menfodi anadiabli ni efa Filabeno. Now they sing. The age of faith, Chimoyevo, Ablare, Emichelo, Ednawe, Etomono, Tranekeno, Etamoto, Koni Ablare. Yewala ninkukona. Yewala wala ninkukona. I know that the guys amongst us will be completely disgraced at what I've done, but the main words I wanted to throw at you was the chorus. Yewala ninkukona. Yewala wala ninkukona. You represent to a whole generation. In fact, 3 generations. Those ahead of you, those you range with, and those of us coming. I'm still coming though. I'm still very young. And I want to say thank you. You've been a mentor to a lot of us. God knows I've had my days with you. We can never have a conversation without getting into a fight. I'm not sorry because you have taught me to always stand my ground. You have taught us how to be diligent about things. You taught us how to be diligent about life, and you have actually lived what you preached. You practice what you preach, and that is what I sometimes get angry with you about that, because when you start chiding somebody, you actually write, and the person feels doubly whipped because I can't fault you. Brother, we want to say thank you. I say we collectively. I stand in the steps of the CPP UK, especially, to say thank you for keeping the firebrand of the CPP. I thank you for keeping Nkrumah's very alert right across. COVID has really done us a big, big disservice, because I would have appointed myself, co-presenter with Candy, for this, and gone the whole world around to say to you, this is what you've done. You left a legacy, or in fact, you're living a legacy. You're a living legacy. You lived what you say you want to do. Come back on, Brad. They don't cry. I can't see you. I don't know why he's not on there. But I want to say to you that
the situation is emotional for him.
I know. I have cried here myself, and I cried I couldn't stop weeping when Iva and I were talking behind the scenes, and then Iva finally came on. I was like, wow, COVID or not, COVID will go away. And I will hold you to it, because, brother, God knows you have attended so many people's birthday parties, funerals, anniversaries, mini. You have to have a party. We are holding you to that, man. We are holding you to having a wonderful party, which will probably go on for 3 days. It was starting there. Don't worry. My cooking skills are still there. I will throw in my bits. I want to say thank you, brother. God bless you. God continue to extend your territories. I think the best of you is yet to come. And like Dakwadanya, you were when you went to Motown, You're still an Akwada Nyame amongst your peers. I read one of your, unfortunately, if I put on the phone, it would be sad, but I read one of the your messages from the Jamestown Nation Noyakpe, for whom I also stand in here. Jamestown Nation Noyakpe is a non-governmental group, a developmental group which is seeking to enhance the fortunes of the current indigents of Jamestown, because God knows it's produced quite a few auspicious people, and right now the conditions there are not the best. And of course, trust Onukpa Brade to be in the midst of it all. My big sister and cousin Audrey Quay, I'll mention her here. Thank you for linking the things. She wants us to tell you happy birthday. Her own tribute to you. It's not a tribute. I'll call it a living Latin Island that put it in a very nice way. I would suggest you go and visit the Jamestown that way. But one of your peers actually said that you have finally joined them in the 70-year period. And then I remember that you always told me you went to school, secondary school at the age of 9 years and a bit. Today you have confirmed that. Well, 70 or not, Brady, to me, you are the 20-year-old Brady who was able to take on the whole GCB manager and say, my friend, keep your job. I'm going to do computers. You are still the same person who could come in into England and turn go see into go do. The GLA thanks you for that. Ghanaians in South London, especially in actually the Ghana Union UK, where you co-opted myself in, drugged me in a very difficult time for me, but you pulled me in and brought me at the age of 30 to join and worked at it. Ghana Union says thank you. I could go on and on, but I'm very emotional today because from day one, when Candy mentioned this, I was like, wow, COVID has really robbed us of a day to do this. But you know what? The very fact that you have attended so many, and I'm saying the second time, you have attended so many people's parties and taken home so many jollof rice and things. To start in his chagrin, we will hold you to a birthday party par excellence at the end of COVID. And COVID, yaba, you know, there's a way we can suck diseases in Accra. We should bring it here, come and clear it away. It will all go. Well, it's a shame I can't see you. We're all shielding, as you know. Thank you for being there for me when I'm ill. When I'm being ill, I'm ill at the moment. Those of you haven't seen me, sorry about that. But Ade has been there. He's the kind of person who will pull you out of your sick bed. He will not let you feel sorry for yourself. No. And he will tell you stories about sickle cell, and you're wondering, this man has got sickle cell and he behaves like this, you know. Today, the professor himself of sickle cell has come in and given you a tribute. And typically, you discarded it like it was nothing. Thank you, Brady. You're an icon.
He cried.
I know he did. I saw his head go back, and he was like, one of his expressions was, "This is I have been hijacked into this." I couldn't stop laughing. You know, but brother, oh, you are done. Can you tell you? Obi, Onabi, old OPS, old Bemeno Kenya. Gadangbe, Nikasemo, in late groups know your between you and Audrey Quay. I don't know how many groups you belong to, but you're doing the yeoman's job. You can't stop now, COVID or no COVID. I hope to see you soon, and I will definitely hold you to that birthday party. Steiner, don't worry, we'll do the party for you. Don't worry, I should be my job, loving you and thanking you. Keep the fire aflame. Bye-bye. Happy birthday again.
Thank you so much, Iris. Now you made him you've drawn him into a serious emotional tailspin. So I'm gonna give him some time to get himself organized and then come back on air.
Thank you very much, Lydia Naki. You can see Ledaiki. She went to Achimota Primary, so she words. Thank you very much. She's written the words down.
Yeah,
I butchered the words there a bit. Yes, sorry.
yeah. But you yourself, I hope you are well, and I'm waiting for you to come on air and let's talk some politics and what Ghana, what the future of Ghana is gonna hold.
It's all in the good Lord's hands. We are fearfully and wonderfully made, and we
Indeed.
thank God that we can be here and discuss this. And as for Ghana, don't worry. Country broke and no broke, we go day inside. It
Oh,
will
we all
get
did.
better.
What
It's
is
going
it?
to get better.
Togbo, or whatever.
The massive thing. But when they vote for CBP, we'll be better off. You're calculating CBP.
Uh, thank you. Thank you for your beautiful tribute. Now I can't find Uncle Ade. He has vanished from the scene. Mm. Well, people, it looks like it's just me now on here. Uncle Ade became emotional, and it was just too much, I guess. And but it has been a very interesting birthday tribute for a great man. Normally, we have great men and we do not celebrate them enough. Here we have a beautiful gentleman who has come on. He's just gone again. I don't know. But this person was coming from Accra, and I think the internet is a bit of a problem in Accra at the moment. But whilst we wait for him to come back, Uncle Ade has been very, very generous in spirit, in action, to a lot of Ghanaians. And this is why we celebrate him. Here is a gentleman from Czechoslovakia who wants to give his tribute to Uncle Ade.
Bloody. Happy birthday. From the first time I met you with your afro when we were in Motown, Jaffe House. Our housemaster was your older brother, Bella. And you lived with him at times, and you had your company, Afro Asia Tours, and you used to go back and forth in the Afro Asia Tours 505, spanking new cars. So that was the first time I met you. That was what I think it was from 4 from 5 in Jaffe House, Motown. And so I was quite surprised to see you coming to the house and checking out my big sis.
Yeah.
So, long story short, you guys hooked up, and it's been quite a journey. And now here you are, 70. It seems like just yesterday we all left Motown, and you guys got married, and all the fun and everything, So we love you. You've been a great brother-in-law. You've taken good care of my sister, my nephew. Happy birthday. You're there all the time. You give great advice, business advice, personal advice. You can count on you at all times. As a brother-in-law, I guess I have special access. So I'll continue to seek and claim that access as we go forward. So here's wishing you many, 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 many more years of happiness, bliss, great health, prosperity. You know, just have a good time and be yourself. You know, be the Ochiami, the linguist, yeah. I even forgot you. You even taught me. You were trying to teach me how to pour libation one time when I was in America. We were going to have the old Achimota reunion, and we wanted to take it up a notch. So I called you up and asked you how to pour libation proper. You know, so yeah, you know, we've had a lot of good times, and looking forward to better times post COVID. Hope to come and visit soon, or maybe you'll come down and visit.
Yeah.
So happy birthday!
Yeah.
Many happy returns of the day.
Yeah.
And we hope to see you all soon. At least we can talk on the phone and do all that stuff. But face to face, feely, a hug and a drink or a meal together would be great. So we're looking forward to that. Of course, thank you, Candy, for hosting this. It's great. You know, I was out in the town. It rained, and there's a mess here in Accra, but we made it home, and here we are. So thank goodness for Candy and her magic.
Granny, is it recorded?
Finito.
Yeah.
Was it recorded?
Sorry?
No, he's live. He's live.
Amala is live.
Yeah.
Granny is live.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Granny is live. Bloody.
You know what in Cranny is? Okay. Every Gabon has a sabla. And anybody called Amalai is called in Cranny.
Okay.
So Amalai Sabla is in Cranny. Amalai, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You were talking about your darling sister. Yeah.
We call Amalai the king of Czechoslovakia.
Yeah. Amalai, the whole thing was that when I met her, I was smitten immediately. That was your sister.
That's right.
So I couldn't go anywhere. I mean, so when you saw me coming to the house,
she hooked you one time.
Yeah. The day I saw her, no, I said, this is it. All the journey end, you know. And so what was nice about it was that, you know, when you're walking around Accra and everything, my mother was worried about this endless chain of young ladies who were trying to get at my heart, and she met me with your sister, and I told her straight up that, actually it was Ray's mother, my aunt, who said that, look, Ade, you got to stop all this nonsense. You met a lady, you better stick to her. She's from good stock. And so I didn't argue about that. That was the first time I didn't argue with my aunt or my mom. But I was smitten. I mean, that was so caring. Even just now, I had a crisis here. She came to solve it because I had plugged in the wrong computer stuff. So you all lost me for a while. Sorry about that, but she came and showed me that I put in the wrong plug. So the battery died on me. Yeah. But Nkweni, thank you. We shall conversate, as we say. And yeah, that's good. Thanks very much. Okay. Yeah.
As we say, yes.
Yes. And it's good to see you. Now I'm trying to develop a little beard myself. It's not coming properly. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Oh, please.
Well,
No. Your beard, when it shows up, Charlie, it puts me to shame.
Yeah. Okay.
I think our conversation is coming to an end now. Unless you want to talk about culture and
I didn't hear that. Candy. Ghana and
she said the conversation
Ghana and what? Coming to an end.
Yeah. The conversation, I think she
but
said.
But people want to know about your culture and arts, and what is the way forward now with culture regarding the young people coming up.
Well, okay. I mean, if you look at how countries in the modern world have developed, okay, maybe one use the first example of Britain, that preceding the Industrial Revolution, we had the period of Enlightenment, the Renaissance, where the artists were coming up with good stuff. It was a time of patronage for the creative arts, the writers, the musicians, etc. And that came on before we went into the Industrial Revolution, okay? But I'll compare that to China, that when Mao started his great leap forward, which was followed by his Cultural Revolution, which was followed by the period that he shut China off from the rest of the world. The Chinese were able to identify with their own culture, be self-confident in what it is that they were doing. So, and they did things really to suit them. Okay. I believe that what happened to us during the colonial period was that we threw away things that we had, and we had to lead a certain life of a dualistic life, of imbibing a lot of Western culture and probably not paying that much attention to our own culture. Okay. No. Somebody tells me, and this is one of the Ghana proverbs, that there's a solution for everything. So when the guy say, "Noni bako die," and shall say, which means when there's a problem, we'll solve the problem. Okay. And I think if we start thinking along the lines that we have fairly important rites of passage that tell us things, yeah, and we start dealing with our own creative industries and our own creative arts and our own thought processes, yeah, we'll probably be able to rise up faster than when we follow the economic mode of what we see in this world, of trying to play catch up with the rest of the world at different levels. Okay. Because when you start solving problems that are close to your heart, that are part of you, that you identify with, that's when you can then look at solving problems, bigger problems, or solving problems of how to take on the world. So it's important for us to understand or even appreciate that we also had systems that are ordered from time. Be them religious systems, like the fact that innately Ghana people believe in Nyumbo. Atana Nyumbo, the God who was a creator, who is rational, who is mobile. And underneath Atana Nyumbo are the various Jemawojin, who are immortal. They are spirits that will never die. And they are also rational and they are mobile. A man at the center does not create and is mortal, but man is rational and mobile. And under man, we have animals who will die. They are not mortal. They did not create anything, but they are mobile. And at the last level, we have plants who are immobile. They are irrational. They are mortal. Now, this for me, for instance, sums up what the cosmology is. So even thinking and discussing this opens up something different. It's not about sitting down to talk about Christ and the Trinity, and it's talking about your own innate belief. That leads to different strands about what you want to do. It understands why we have Kojiemo, where in the middle of the Kojiemo, we actually give the child commandments that Gahumi bile koyota danoyo, unonaku, ununuku, amale aju. Those simple commandments given to a child when that child is 8 days old probably lives forever within that child, because if that child understands or is bedded to the culture. The process of marriage, for instance, that 4 generations of women from one side would actually stand in a circle with 4 generations of the other side to form a bond, of a family bond, so that if there are problems, these ladies are there to resolve it, which for instance is the reason why in the Ghana marriage ceremony, it is the women who take a leading role. Now, I'm suggesting to you that when we start having discussions around these things, that's when our creative energies start flowing. That is when we start looking at issues, about solutions to our common problems. And that's why for me, culture is at the center of most things that happen. When a British man invents something, it's actually based on necessity and need, but it's also based on their culture. We have it in Africa, we have it abundantly in Ghana. It's very rich. We need to know more about it. To know more about it, we need to ask a lot of questions. And those are the questions that I've asked in order for me to be able to understand where I come from and how I will deal with problems in this world. Does that answer you, Auntie Candy?
It does. You have answered it. You have answered it in a total nutshell, because culture is very important, and the way, from what you have said, our culture should be important to us in as much as the British culture or whatever, as whichever other country's culture is important to them, and we must not lose our culture. I am very culture centric, and I love my culture very much. I embrace it, the majority of it. And I think I agree with you in as much as our young up and coming people should understand where we're from. There's a lot to learn and a lot of people to teach, from birth to death, really. We have all sorts of things that we need to learn and need to understand, which then gives us a sense of being, centering, and making us know who we are. Because if you are walking about aimlessly, not knowing who you are and not having pride in the sort of where you are from, the implications are dire. The implications are dire. And these are the issues which we really should embrace. We should start teaching the young to know, if we carry on like this with everything becoming westernized, we will lose ourselves. And the children coming will never know where they came from. They will never know their story. And when you don't know your story, you can be taken over. You are lost. You are totally taking over. So yes, thank you very much. And I very much appreciate. And I'll tell you something. I remember, do you know that you have outdoored a lot of my nieces and nephews? And I remember the first time I saw you at one of my in-laws' child's outdooring.
Was it Mrs. Akonfa?
Yes.
Or somewhere in Lewisham or...
Yes, in Lewisham. And the baby was born and there you were. And they were very surprised that I knew you. it was interesting. Yes. So there you have it. And my children love to listen to the stories that you've told them and all of that. They're all on here watching. They've left you messages. And, you know, everybody has their somebody. And you are our somebody. And that's the world. That is how it is. It is what it is. You are our somebody. I think Amala is back and wants to say something more to you. Amala, you have the floor.
Oh, I do?
Yes, you're back.
I do? No, the internet is spotty, so it keeps kicking me off and bringing me back on. So that's how come I'm on and off. But yeah, I'm listening. I'm enjoying your show. Bloody, it's your day. Oh.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you. I'm going to now deal with a mountain of telephone calls because Candy asked me to turn my phone off.
Yes, it has been interesting because my microphone can pick up every sound in Uncle Ade's house. So everybody talking, people asking, do you want a drink? Do you want to do? I can hear it all. So it was so distracting to me. However, you know, there you have it. But it has been a very wonderful interview, and I'm so proud that you came on this show, and I'm so happy that everyone who wanted to speak to you some of them managed to get. There are quite a few people in the queue, but I can't get everyone on. Otherwise, we would not be able to ask you questions.
Okay.
So, thank you very much for being a sport. And even though you were surprised, you actually enjoyed and you were
I did actually. Yeah. I was very emotional when you all started talking because I thought it was mainly straight talk. And but I must thank everybody who came on this show to listen to me. You know, from time to time, some of us are vulnerable, and I was just sort of fixed with a lot of emotions, and but I enjoyed the experience of coming and talking about anything and everything, which is what. Thank you all very much for having me and for helping me to celebrate this memorable occasion of my 70th birthday. And what do I have to render but thanks to the Lord for giving me a consort who is dutiful and who has helped me along the way. If she managed to plan this, I'm just so impressed with her. There are always different sides of her. And I will go and I will try and thank her before she goes to bed. I'm sure she pretends as if this is nothing to do with her. And but that's the usual bit.
Have you
But that's the
seen
usual bit.
the cake was amazing, the whole
Yeah.
plan to get the cake. Uncle Ade had pies, ordered cake. Oh,
Yeah.
everything. There was commandeering of everything to get the day to be enjoyable for Uncle
So
Ade.
let me see whether she's around.
It would be nice to have her on.
Mrs. Sawyer.
We have 4 minutes left. So where's the cake?
Olumide, Ofade no chow mami gaba. Aine. Oh, she's busy doing something.
Yeah, but I think your cake arrived.
Somewhere. No, I think there's a cake here. But I don't know what it is.
And there are pies, main pies. And there is all sorts in the house there.
What is she doing? Yeah. Aine.
When I wake up, I'm going over there to get myself.
There you go.
She's probably on them. Olumide.
All these people that are being called, when the interview was getting strong, they were all talking in the background. Now we are calling around. This is
there you go, man.
Sarah. Well, they are on I don't know whether they are on a strike or
maybe you've been on.
Yeah, they're trying to tell you.
No.
Today is your day. They don't want to
actually
to mess it up.
Iris, are you there?
I am. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right in the end.
Oh dear.
We're trying to catch my birthday, unawares. So.
And we want to sing happy birthday before I go off. We will have to go.
He wants his cake.
Oh. Uncle Ade. Uncle Ade is now sticking the thing back in his ears.
Are you back with us, Ade?
Oh, yeah, Uncle Ade, people are watching from all over the world. I've seen
as usual.
Canada. I've seen loads of people. I've seen Brace Tego. I've seen
that's my sister.
Yeah, and Brent Chum is in Texas.
Texas.
Yeah. Oh, loads of people. Abigail. Oh, this is beautiful. I mean, Uncle Ade, everybody wants to wish you happy birthday, and I think it's a lovely thing. I mean,
You've done very well, Kiki. Thank you so much.
oh,
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
it's a pleasure. Everyone is watching. So, Uncle Francis, I can see you. Yeah. So, Uncle Ade, I think Uncle Ade's relatives have run away from him.
No, I think.
Auntie Candy.
Hello, Auntie Aide. I want to thank you so
What is the
much.
fascination with the cake?
We want to see, and we want to see happy birthday. We want to see it.
You want to see the cake?
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
Auntie Aine, we want to sing happy birthday now and then go off because the thing will go off automatically. We have to hurry up. We want to see the cake. We want to see the cake. We want to. I want to see the cake.
Oh.
Oh wow! Lower your camera, brother. We can't see it quite well.
Oh, brother, let's see. Oh, brother, it's not just me. Everybody was.
Can you see?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh,
there's a cake here.
There are fruits and things on top.
Oh, wow.
I can't get the angle right. Oh. Yeah, okay, Maloko lower.
Lower.
Beautiful.
Put it there.
Do we sing happy birthday?
Yes,
happy
birthday.
Can you see the cake?
Come on.
They've gone off. Okay.
I can see that still clapping. Happy
Can you see the
birthday
cake?
to you.
Happy birthday.
You need to move forward then.
Auntie Karen, your voice is high. Some of us.
Happy birthday.
Oh,
hey.
We're doing a practice
wow. Look at that cake.
Look at that.
Hey.
Oh my goodness. Oh yes. Happy birthday to you.
Hey, Charlie.
Happy birthday.
Oh, wow. That's it.
To you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Birthday.
Yeah, they can see it.
Happy birthday.
The one thing I'm good at is making noise.
Is it better? Oh, they are the ones who want to see it. I can't. Ask them whether they can see it.
Can you see the cake?
Yeah, we can see it.
We can see it. Part of it.
Yeah, it's the cake. Oh, you can see it, my dear Iris. You can see it.
Let me see whether my name has been written properly.
Oh my God.
Just happy 70th birthday. You are 70 today.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Thank you very much. And
you want to cut it, okay?
Yeah.
Come on, Olumide Eba cut cake.
Is it Olumide?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
People in
Happy
Dallas.
birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Lawrence Dagadu wants a bit of your cake in Dallas. He says send it to Dallas.
Yeah.
Oh, this cake
is that here? Okay.
Okay.
Can they?
I'm cutting it. Okay.
Happy birthday.
And they still see you.
Yeah, they still show it. Okay. I'm cutting it off.
Yes, we can see.
Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Yeah,
thank
we
you,
can
thank you.
see.
Lovely. Okay.
Yay! Hello.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Enjoyed your chat.
Lovely. Uncle
What the
Ade,
next thing?
we
Yes.
thank God.
Yes,
We
actually, we
thank God
need.
for you.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I thank God. I'm going to go and pray again for giving me a wonderful day.
Good.
At least there was a lot of tension during that day, but I came back and I think this, and I think I'm satisfied. I think the emotions have settled down, and yeah, I think I'm much better. Okay, and I thank you. I really enjoyed it all. Okay. I mean, I'd have to talk to my wife too. She should have provided me with some little guidance in terms of what I needed
No,
to do.
no, this is fine. I think in this situation, it's a surprise. If
Yeah,
it wasn't COVID, we still would have surprised you.
yeah,
You need to
okay. Thank you all very much. And I think let's wrap up. Hey,
11.
it's
past
long
11.
past my bedtime.
It's past
So
my bedtime too. So
thank you everybody. Bye bye.
it's
Bye
my
bye.
show. Bye bye.
Bye, 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 bye,
Bye bye.
bye, bye, bye.
Bye.
Bye
God
bye.
bless you. God
Bye.
bless you.
Has been a very long, prolonged show, but thank you all for watching. I am very grateful for everybody who stayed on to enjoy this birthday. 70 is no mean feat, and in our lives, we need to celebrate the living, not the dead. The dead, we have memories, but the living are the people we celebrate whilst they are alive. We show love to our loved ones. So, people, thank you for staying on and watching and appreciating what was happening. I love you all. Bye bye. Be well. Thank you.